Hey guys, I run mostly Makita and Milwaukee tools. That's the platform that I run. Many of the tools in my trailer here are tools that I've done reviews on, and while they usually perform well in the beginning, especially when you're doing a tool review for the first month or so, the real testament of productivity in longevity is time, right? So how do they perform over time? So here's to looking back at least 1 year, some of these tools 2, 3, 4 years later, giving you feedback on, did we get it right in the initial tool review? How are these tools performing and holding up over time during our remodeling process and our work? Would we recommend these tools today after using them for a year, 2, 3, 4 years? And would we change anything? What would we like to see different or updated on these tools? It's a little bit cold out here to be talking in a trailer. Let's go down the shop and break these tools down. Okay, we're in the shop. Let's talk about the 18-volt drywall cutoff saw. As a remodeler, I'm often cutting into walls where I want to make precision cuts and I want to preserve the rest of the wall. Maybe I'm putting in a window or something like that. And I swear this thing cuts 10 times faster than a multi-tool. It's dust-free, super easy to operate, both vertically up a wall or even horizontally along a ceiling. And that's huge, cutting over your head and your eyes. The cutter has a 1/4 inch stroke. It's a real short stroke. It's adjustable up to 1 3/16 inches. It is designed to cut drywall board and not penetrate deep enough to hit objects behind, pipes, wires, even the studs, the wall studs. I'll often set the depth of this so that I can cut right up the middle of a stud, and it works amazingly well. If I hit a screw, I just lift the base up a little bit, go back over the screw and keep moving. It does hit the blade and damage the blade a little bit. There's a clear dust box here for, basically you could do a small amount of drywall dust without a vacuum attached. It's useful for fast cuts and things like that, but you really want to set up a vacuum if you want to do this properly and do it right. There's a swivel port here, which is great, with the clear dust port. When connected to a vacuum, this thing produces almost nil for dust, zero. It's amazing. The cutter's fantastic. It plunges fast and easy. Now look, this particular tool, it's a niche tool, I get it. It produces clean cuts faster than anything I've ever used before, faster than a utility knife, and way cleaner than a recip saw. So did we get it right? Mostly yes, and here's what we found. The dust swivel cover gets lost. The cap gets lost all the time, and we were taping it to the top of it, but eventually got lost. The clear plastic shroud sometimes comes loose at times and comes off. The blades are phenomenal for drywall, but for hybrid plaster, gypsum plaster, the stuff from the 1950s, destroys the blade. That's probably my biggest complaint. If I'm only cutting drywall, it's amazing. I can go a whole month with one blade, but if I use it on hybrid plaster, it's a one and done deal, and that stinks because the blades are pricey. So if dust doesn't matter, when I get to hybrid plaster, I use a recip saw with a carbide blade. By the way, that hybrid plaster is common in my area. It represents a transitional stage between traditional wood lath and plaster to the modern drywall techniques that we see today. We see it a lot here in the Northeast. But Makita, I'd love to see a carbide blade on this tool. Overall, it's a great tool. It makes us more professional. We work cleaner, and I do highly recommend it. Okay, moving on, let's talk about the track saw. 6.5 track saw. You never get a second chance to make a first impression, and the first time I used this saw, I said, wow. I was using it to cut 1/2 inch birch plywood, and it was just smooth and clean cutting. 4 years ago, I tested this saw, and I had commented back then that it was super smooth plunging, powerful motor. It allowed me to cut quickly, smoothly, and it just glides along its track. We were impressed with the ease of use. It's got a solid design, great price. We told you back then that this saw was a great purchase, had plenty of qualities, and was a worthy track saw, worthy of your eyes, to look at. We also said that it was not a lot to dislike about this saw. We mentioned that we'd like to see the saw have a riving knife back then, still would today, and currently Makita doesn't really offer any kickback mitigation besides the track guidance that they provide. The depth of scale is metric. Imperial measurements would be welcome. That still hasn't changed, or maybe it has. I don't know about the newer models. Lastly, I was bummed out that my Makita HEPA vac didn't fit directly onto the dust port. I had to make a connection using an adapter. The vac hose inside diameter is 1.5 inches, and the track saw dust port is 1 3/4 inches. So it was 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 difference. So did we get it right the first time? Hell yeah, we did. The saw has held up well over 4 years in remodeling work. I use it to cut hardwood floors a lot. There's nothing that's changed that we would recommend differently today. In fact, if you saw our cordless track saw head-to-head that we did 2 months ago, go check it out because this saw performed admirably. Really, really nice. All right, moving on. Talk about the cordless compact router. If you're a carpenter for at least 20 years now, you know that Makita's lineage was with the carpenter and woodworker. To prove that, think back to your very first miter saw, very first table saw, and slide pack drill. I'm dating myself there. I bet it was Makita. If you've been around long enough, I bet it was Makita. This router is geared towards the pro contractor, pro carpenter. And these days, so many people are using compact routers to do almost the lion's share of their routing applications. The exciting thing about this cordless router, besides being cordless, is that it's a mirror image to the corded 1 1/4 compact router that they use, the corded one. This means that all the expensive accessories, the plunge bases, the tilt bases, guides, dust shrouds, all that stuff fits. It's compatible. It's a smart, really smart business thing to do. Clearly, Makita was thinking about tool users and making that transition to go cordless more cost-effective and cheaper for us end users. I do want to stress that the accessory compatibility to me is awesome. It's a win, and one that will save you money if you're on that platform going corded to cordless. Next to being cordless for me, probably the most exciting thing is the base adjustment. It gets me a little bit excited. Like router manufacturers, Makita uses a quick release cam lever to adjust and remove the router, but the micro adjustment, it's got this rack and pinion adjustment. It's beautiful. It just lets you dial it in. I loved it back when I reviewed this, and I love it today still. The adjustment is smooth, fast, easy to use. Frankly, I think it blows away the competition routers. I know the Milwaukee router recently came out with a very similar adjustment. When routing with this router, perfect weight, it's well balanced, it's not too light where the router walks or maybe chatters along the surface. It cuts well, it has plenty of power to cut for a cordless router, and I would position this as medium, small and medium routing applications. I use it for almost everything. So, did we get it right a couple of years back when we reviewed it? I think we did. There's nothing negative today to say about this router. It has and continues to perform as well as it did day one. All right, I want to move on now to the 18-volt X2 rotary hammer, which has a permanent place in our tool trailer, and it's not here today because it's on a job site. Why does it have a permanent place? It's 1.5 inch AVT rotary hammer, cordless. It's a concrete problem solver. Mostly I love the weight and size. That's basically what it is. It's about this big. A couple of nice features are it's got an electric brake, allows the tool to reposition the chipper. It's fast. It's got a variable speed dial and trigger, which gives me better control and starting. It also has the attachment for the HEPA dust. Although most of the time I'm using it for chipping or a quick hole, longer drill bits, so I'm probably not always using the vacuum, but we have it, and it's just nice to have. I don't believe I reviewed that tool per se, but I've been using it for several years, probably 3, almost 4 years now, and it has performed from day one to today, 0 issues, nothing negative to report. Great runtime on the X2 batteries, so well worth it. So there you have it, folks. We just took a look back on 4 Makita tools. These tools are in our trailer. We're using these things daily. They're great tools, and I hope you have a chance to check them out. I'm Rob Robillard. Please consider following us. If you like this video, please give us a like, leave us a comment, and hit that notification bell in the corner right there. We'll see you at the next tool review. Take care.